Welcome back. It's RGR Football on a Sunday live because I'm fired up for some unknown reason. And there's a lot to talk about. We're glad that you guys are here. A little bit out of the blue, a little bit early, but there are early things going on up in St. Joe. We're going to cover them here for you. Welcome to RGR Football. Welcome back, Chiefs fans.
He's legit triggered too, you guys.
Yeah. Stuff happens and it drives me nuts. Welcome back. Dan's here. He'll be the calm one today.
Oh, I doubt it. I doubt it very much.
Hey, we got a treat for you guys too. Dan is appearing on the Locked On podcast this week, so you can check that out. It'll be up tonight, Sunday night on audio, and tomorrow over on the YouTube channel, so you can check that out. I have the wife convinced that it's football season. It's been 10 years in the making. She's like, I do not count preseason. I don't care what's going on at camp. You call me when it's the week before the regular season. I finally got her convinced. So she's like, okay, I'll put zero expectations on you on Sundays from now on. Victory. I'm like, okay, I'm good through January now.
Victory.
And then things happen, things to get me fired up. And the reason we started early, folks, because we got a lot of comments out of camp today. A camp that is a mini camp. It is for players that are coming off of injury and for the rookies and quarterbacks to try to develop some kind of further chemistry, further connection. You get a little bit of an OTAs, a little bit more mandatory mini camp, but you have other veterans that you need to connect with. If you're Pat Mahomes, this is your chance for Cornell Powell and Noah Gray to get it together and get going. And I think that's an exciting time for not just them, but for the team, right?
100%. The train for Cornell Powell is now full speed ahead. After he talked, I'm in. He's a full-fledged veteran, in my opinion. He just knows what he wants to say. It's perfect for the young guys. It's so much fun to see Patrick get out there. He knows where you need to be on the field. Like, it's perfect time for these guys to show you can be productive early if you're going to be on the spot where he expects you to be at the right time. And there's no better place to do that than before all the other veterans get there and you start to get that one-on-one time with the quarterback. And this obviously goes to defensive players too. But again, it's huge. It's huge for these young guys. You know, they had that rookie mini camp. This is essentially a mini rookie mini camp with a couple of injured Chiefs. So it's awesome. I'm just happy that we're finally getting some little tiny snippets of video of guys at camp and helmets and in their jerseys. I'm pumped. I'm so pumped.
Oh, I'm glad that you are. Oh, I just noticed I didn't even spell it right on the thumbnail to DE there. You'll see that updated later. Don't worry, folks. On replay, it should be fixed because I am terrible at spelling, even when people are saying things that they shouldn't to me. But I'm glad that you mentioned the defense because that's what it's about today. We got two things. And whenever somebody throws out anything that has 3 digits in it, I start to pay attention because that's either an acknowledgement of being full go, or it's a confident expression of I'm going to be. And we got that twice on Sunday from Juan Thornhill, first and foremost. And we covered this partially on Locked On, but I want to get deeper into it. Having 100% Juan Thornhill, like he said he was today, that is a game changer. We know they took it easy on him on reps in OTAs. We're going to see what happens once the vets get back. They have a 5-day acclimation period. So he's got a good 7 practices in front of him that should be nice and light. But you tell me, what's your expectation? If Juan Thornhill is 100%, how good can this secondary be?
Yeah, right before I hit this, I'm going to hit Ryan with something so he can't talk about it. Chandler Jones has requested a trade. Okay, so now, Juan Thornhill.
We're going to get to that.
So Juan Thornhill being 100% is so key for this defense to be successful because Matthew can do so much as the underneath player. That's what he does best. It's what he excels at. It's what he succeeds the most at. When you can play that single high deep coverage and let Thornhill actually be a ranging football finder, essentially, just wherever he wants to be on the field, that's ideal for the defense. It lets the corners play more physically. It lets Matthew really wander around as well, too. Like, it's going to be so important that safety tandem is healthy this coming season and for the future of the Chiefs defense, because those guys make everybody's jobs easier and lets them do what they do best.
Yeah. And that's really what it is about is maximizing what everyone else does. And that's what a true free safety is for, is to put that over the top so that everybody else can go make plays. Now, Juan has a tendency to make plays too. He's decent in terms of searching out and actually acquiring the football. But this is something that I think is a little bit above and beyond. I already see comments about how long until he gets hurt. Yeah. And that's a good question. But you guys have heard me say this before, and we're going to go over it again, because a year out from an ACL, you should be 90-95%. You should be playable. You should be able to be out there consistently, safely, without risking re-injury. A year after that, you should be 100%. And that's what Juan is saying today. And that's what my expectation has been. I was concerned in OTAs because they took it real easy on him. And I'm all for mental reps. And quite frankly, him spending time with Steve Spagnuolo while practice is going on is important, because that's giving him the full scope of the defense. But I will say, if there was maybe a cleanup procedure that we don't know about, or a slight strain of something again where there was concern, that feeds into it. But he should be physically all the way back at this point. And if that's true, he has the range to get everywhere. I thought he played well down the stretch. Not sure what happened that last game. Again, I think there was something that was bothering him. Mm-hmm. But if that's been taken care of, this offseason for Juan Thornhill should have been about full recuperation. And if that's the case, then he gives them one of the big building blocks to be a top 10 secondary. And that's why we're bringing it up here, because he said today he's emulating Tyron. That's key. That's recognizing what you have as a resource, as a guy in front of you, but then that also turns Tyron loose. And if he has Juan back there that he knows will be in the right spot over and over and over again, that lets Tyron be that much more Tyron.
Yep. He had a bunch of interceptions off of when they played those single high deep safeties, and he can trust Thornhill back there. And we saw a ton of interceptions he probably should have had too in 2019, because that connection between them, it's perfect. It's perfect for this defense. It allows them to feed off each other. And, I truly, like you said, we think make the big top 10 secondary in the NFL. They could even be a top 10 defense if those guys are in sync and the full healthy.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
No, I'm going to get ahead of myself. No. They could be a top 10 defense with those two in the back. It can be that.
It can be. You're right.
If everyone reaches their ceilings.
Well, and I'm leaving Stevie's comment up here because I know a lot of you guys are talking about it in the chat, and that's absolutely true. And before we get on to the next topic about how they get to be a top 10 secondary, pressure helps every secondary. And this is something that if they can get the Tyron contract extension done, which I'm looking at, we're 5 days out from it right now. That's something that I would explore. Maybe you could even give him Frank. I don't know. It's not a 1-for-1.
No,
but two disgruntled players flipping towns might just work out. I don't know. If I remember correctly, I think Jones is like 16 against Cam versus Frank's 20, so there's definitely a difference. Chandler Jones still has something left in the tank, though, I think. And if you are concerned, if you're the organization and you're concerned about continuing down this path with Frank Clark, then that might be a way out to try to explore that. I don't know.
I agree. I think that's an avenue to explore. I have pretty good indication, in my opinion, that Brett Veach has called at least a little bit, maybe just started to dial a little bit. Right. He's always around the phone when this kind of stuff happens anyway. So
9-1. Okay. So that said, the pressure would help. Any pressure will help. But here's the other big key that dropped today that we want to make sure we got out here right away is that I think LJ Snead Legarius. I guess only Spags gets to call him that. I've been getting all kinds of crap about it lately. Sorry. I'm not Steve Spagnuolo, so I'll say Legarius. I think he can be a top 15, top 20 corner, which is a CB1. I think that is within his realm of capability. Will he get there this season? Maybe, maybe not. But the fact that they still have a lot of faith in Travarius Ward, who runs a sub 4.4. Legarius Snead that runs a sub 4.4. Juan Thornhill that runs a sub 4.4. If you're not catching my drift, this is repetitive here. So does Tyrann Mathieu. That's four guys in the secondary that are sub 4.4 that you can cover ground with. And then you have Rashad Fenton, your physical beat 'em up kind of instinctual player who makes plays despite not being a 4.4 guy. And then the guy today the guy that says he's close. Now, players like to get out front of this. But if DeAndre Baker can get to 100% at any point in this season, and again, that kind of injury, good Lord, a fractured femur is even worse. So if he can get to 90% of what he's capable of, a former first-round pick, this gives them another guy in that, arsenal that they can use to take away a weapon from another team. I think this could shape into be a top 10 unit, but how much do you think DeAndre plays into it?
I think he's kind of some of the key. I think that playing Ward at the beginning of the season is what's going to really hinder that. I'm not sure if he's going to be up to playing to his 2019 level. But again, that also hinges on Thornhill. So we can see the connection here. If Thornhill's at his best, that allows Ward to be physical, be more physical at the line of scrimmage, which is where he's best. He's best in press man coverage where he can get his hands on you and force you to slow down your stem and get into you before you're at top speed, because otherwise he's going to get beat. We've seen it multiple times at the break points when he's too busy trying to get up in their faces. He's not already there with his hands. It doesn't work well for him after that. But if he can do what he does best and play physically, he can return to that 2019 form. That was his best season as a Chief in the NFL. So it's going to be a combination of both Ward and Baker. Now, Baker, the traits are all there. Like, he's got everything to be a starting corner in this NFL, opposite a guy like Snead, who also has all of the top flight things you need to play corner in this NFL. And Baker getting on the field is going to be important. We know that Thornhill wasn't 100% all last year. That confidence in your leg is only going to get better once you see competition, once you're forced to run with someone who's faster than you, keep up and use your hands and I'll put all that pressure on your knee, jumping, your legs, everything. It's going to be all used. He's got to get to that point. I don't know if he's going to get there this season. So if he just gets on the field in the first 2 months of the season, that's huge. That's all you could want. And that from that point on, I think you can have him take over for Charvarius Ward and actually be close to that top 10 secondary, because even an 85 to 90% Baker is better than Charvarius Ward, in my opinion.
Well, he's certainly better as anything else down the depth chart. I mean, there's a lot of upside potential there, but they clearly believe that because Juan Thornhill is feeling back, I mean, 100%, 95%, whatever it is, they feel that he's good enough to be that pair with Tyron, let Dan do what Dan does, and they feel that they have enough young talent that's why they forego signing a veteran like Bashaud Breeland and let him go to Minnesota. And so it feeds into, you have these spikes that can take you up into the top 10. It's about raising the floor now, whether it's Baker, whether it's Fenton, whether it's one of the young guys. It's about not allowing those big plays. And that's, I think, going to be the one thing that we're going to have to watch to see if they can be a top 10 unit or not. That comes down to limiting explosive plays by the other team. You're very much on the right track, Wink. As athletic as he is, his head is what makes him an all-pro, and passing that down to something that is a lot more easily passed than athletic ability. So that's a fair point. Cole had a good question here. I want to hit that. In future years, the league makes day one of camp the report day for quarterbacks, rookies, and any veterans into the team. I haven't heard anything about that. That won't happen unless the league mandates it. I don't think the NFLPA is going to go for that. This kind of break-in period is to protect the longevity of the veterans. That's why there's also this new 5-day acclimation time, they call it, where it's basically just walkthroughs. There'll be no hitting. There'll be no 7s or 11s, anything like really organized where you're going close to full speed. But if that's running around in circles within the league, I haven't heard about it, but that doesn't mean it isn't happening. So.
I think he was just posing it as an idea, but I think that what this comes down to, excuse me, is that the league's going to push for 18 games. Okay? Yep. That's coming next. So what the players are going to do is they're going to make it so what you just asked about never happens. The veterans, any type of veteran, even maybe the quarterbacks, are not going to be at the beginning of camp like they are right now, because they want to get more, less practice time, less physical practices, and less time on the field where they could possibly injure themselves. That's what that's going to be all about. So this next, whenever they end up asking for that 18th game, then the NFLPA is going to come up and say, look, we're not going to want them at the beginning of camp. We're not going to want this many practices, yada, 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 yada. So I think that's what we're more leaning towards in the future.
I agree with you. I will say this though. The problem, and I can hear every coach that I've ever known that coaches quarterbacks say this right now. It's very difficult to have mental reps when you don't have the tie into the field. So there are people that are pushing to make this acclimation point all film work, all meeting room. The problem is you have to have the physical portion to tie it in, and it's a quick turnover. Most teams, they try to install in the meetings in the morning, go out and put it in on the field that day, tie muscle memory into planning, and that's going to be the hiccup there. But there are some ways that they could go about it. At the end of the day, I think anything, whether it's the quarterback or a secondary player like this, especially one that's going to be leaned on. And right now, we know the top 3 safeties with Armani Watts going on to the PUP to yesterday, which I did not expect.
Nope.
Will Parks is firmly in the 4th safety spot. The question is going to be whether they have a 5th safety, whether Armani gets back to compete for that, or Devin Key steps up, or if they go 4 safeties, 6 corners, which right now I kind of feel is more likely.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. So anything else that you can think of today, Dan?
I was just happy I was able to drop that Chandler Jones information on you without you being able to talk right away. That made me pretty happy. Not gonna lie.
I'm glad that you're pumped for that.
But I mean, Cornell Powell, again, I'm going to keep bringing him up. He's going to be a name that I'm not going to be able to stop talking about. And Cornell Powell being with Patrick Mahomes makes me so happy. I can't believe that I truly, okay. So I'm going to throw this out for you guys, because I'm getting tired of sitting back on my haunches with some of these takes. I'm just ready for Cornell Powell to be the X receiver in week 4. I'm just going to say it now. By week 4, he's going to be the guy at the X receiver. I think that he's got the tools. He's better hands than anybody else on the team, even better than Hill, because Hill drops balls. I mean, let's be honest. He has some issues with drops. Not Noah Gray. But but yeah, I think by week 4, I think he's going to be the X receiver. I'm in.
Okay. I'm going to decline to agree with you, and I'm going to say it's Byron Pringle in week 4. I can't say it won't be week 5.
You're probably right.
But once we see something, not only through camp, but once we see who's making the most of their snaps, because I think they will make an effort for Robinson, Pringle, Powell to all get looks in the first few games. Whoever maximizes that is my guess going to take over. Maybe it'll be your guy.
As soon as he makes any type of insane catch, week 1. It's going down to week 1. That's all he's got to do.
It should be entertaining. Folks, we're going to have more for you. We'll do the Q&A next week. So if anything else drops today, we will have reaction to that. Make sure that you're here for Monday night. Like, sub, hit the bell if you're new, because this is just a taste of what we usually do. This breakdown show is going to be every Sunday night post game. I do that live every time, usually with Matt Derrick from Chiefs Digest, so you'll be able to see that as well. And then we have a rant from Dan. I'm guessing I know the direction that's going. It'll probably be about 14.
Maybe. That's a very good possibility.
And I'm waiting on the last pieces of details. You guys should have the Noah Gray film review up on Wednesday from me pre-practice, so that you can see what we should see when the vets report on Friday. And you're going to start to see a feel that Dan actually is very excited about the level of drops that aren't existent in Noah Gray's game.
Non-existent.
Yeah. So it should be fun. Seth should be back on Thursday. We'll have the Chief of the North live stream as always. Thank you guys. Hope you're enjoying your weekend, and especially dropping in for this early one. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
We'll check you tomorrow.